Welcome to the month of August here at the Stafford Motor Speedway, and another busy month it's going to be. Monster month of motorsports, and it all kicks off this Friday night with the biggest event of the season for the SK Modifieds.
Did you say monster month of motorsports?
I did.
That's amazing alliteration. I'll give you that one, Kyle. But yes, we got the NAPA Auto Parts SK5K this Friday, and a little bit of unpredictability when it comes to how many laps we're running, because it's usually 100 laps, but it could be 60, it could be 70, it could be 80. So drivers don't even know what to do in terms of how they approach the race to a certain extent because they don't know how many laps it is. 60 laps and 80 laps, that 20-lap difference could be big when it comes to maybe how you save your tires and such. But it's a big race, $5,000 to win. The top stars in the SK Modifieds, one of the most competitive divisions across the country. It's going to be a fun race to watch.
A divisions with a lot of storylines going in, including a brand new winner a week ago.
Oh, man. We talked about Bello a lot this season for good reason, because he's just been incredible. I mean, he did one SK Light season last year. He won a race and then moves up to SKs, and we were wondering how he would do. I think he's done pretty good. In his 13th start, he gets his first SK Modified win. I mean, not many rookies win in the SK Modifieds at Stafford because of the competition, just how different it is from the SK Lights, but he's just got it seems. He's got so much time behind the wheel because he races so much in so many different cars throughout the season. I mean, he's doing 4 races this week. At the time of this recording, he's down in North Wilkesboro doing 2 races. He's racing the SK5K, and then he's racing an open car tri-track at Waterford. So he has so much time behind the wheel, and I think that's a big reason why the 16-year-old is able to succeed so much. Good on Bello in that 51 team. He's got the equipment, but he's surely got the skill as well.
And while Anthony Bello found victory lane last week, Marcello Refrano falls short again.
Yeah, we say that it's a matter of time, but man, led a lot of laps, but with 5 laps to go, made a little bit of contact with Bello coming off of turn 2. An incredible save. I mean, you thought that car might be going around the middle of the backstretch in front of the field, but he hung on to it to get second, and he said after the race that he must be leading the most laps in an SK Modified without getting a victory, which might be true, but Refano's been amazing all year long. I mean, he's got the 88 car. It's him and his father this season, and I think they've really proven themselves as to what they can do together this year because they've just been stout, consistent, top 5s, podiums, second places. I know he's tired of finishing second. That's his 3rd runner-up this season, but Refano can't be ashamed of how strong that team has been this year.
And cue the broken record, but Todd Owen continues to do what Todd Owen does best, and that is finish in the top 5 and, like last week, on the podium.
It's, like you said, a broken record. It's the same thing every week, but that's what you got to do. You have a 20-race season. Yeah, winning is important. People love winning, but Todd will tell you, you just got to stay consistent. He's been consistent. Fellow Chassis Pro driver David Root has shown consistency lately. Even Anthony Flannery, who had 2 incidents on Friday and still finished 10th. He's got 3 top 10s in 3 races, but Chassis Pro is just on the right track in the SKs. They've really been strong all year long, and Todd is leading that group with a huge point lead.
Those are just some of the storylines for the 9th annual SK5K. Mike Christopher Jr., the defending winner, still looking for his first win of the year. Ronnie Williams looking to become the first 3-time winner of the event. Now in the late models, another fairly new name to victory lane. It's been a couple of years since Daryl Keene reached Napa victory lane last.
And the last month, he has been really good. I mean, he says that his team has been on point with these 2nd, 3rd place finishes, and he got back to victory lane for the first time in 2 years. I mean, it's kind of hard to believe it's been that long for Keene, but he gets it done. An emotional win for him and a huge shot in the arm for the 79 team. And big picture, Kyle, Adam Gray's top 2 streak was broken. What do we do now?
Well, he finished on the podium. So
right.
Let's just call it a podium streak of 9 in a row.
Yeah, so he's got a big point lead now because of his consistency, but that battle for 2nd through 4th in the points is close. I mean, 8 points separate Tom Fern, Kevin Gambacorta, and Daryl Keene. So that battle for 2nd is going to be intense, but Adam Gray can't be, relaxing yet because one night can change everything. We've seen that across all of our divisions this season, that one bad night or even a couple bad nights in a row can change the complexity of the points.
We saw that in the SK Light Modifieds with Tyler Chapman earlier this season. Had a huge point lead. He's currently 2nd in the standings. It was Tyler Berry a week ago, though, part of a dramatic finish that put a different driver in victory lane for the 2nd time this year.
Yeah, George Bissett Jr. taking the checker flag by about a half a car length or so. They were side by side for the last 2 laps, Bissett and Berry. I mean, they put on a great show. wasn't the prettiest of features. We had its fair share of incidents. I mean, we talked about Josh Carey and his luck. He got caught up in another accident off of 4 in his first time back with the primary car. But when the racing got going, when we got the green flag laps in, it was some real good Nerf bar to Nerf bar action between Bassett and Barry. We talked about bridesmaids. Barry has got 4 second-place finishes this season. I mean, that's a big reason why he's the point leader. He really hasn't had a finish worse than 7th except for one race where he had a flat tire and nothing else in terms of damage. But he really wants to get that first win. He was really hard on himself last week because he thought he should have chose the outside line, and that's how Bassett got by him. Barry does have one win in his SK Light career, the season finale last year, but he's looking to get back to victory lane, but he does have the point lead in the big picture.
And while we talk about Tyler and Tyler for most of the season, I want to talk about Amanda West for a minute.
Yeah.
Very consistently quiet all year, back in the top 5 in points.
She's 4th in points. She had a top 5 last week. It's just quiet consistency sometimes is the best way to go. You'll see her running 5th, 7th, 8th. But the big thing is that she doesn't really have a race where she finds trouble or does not finish the event. She just keeps finishing. She keeps finishing. She keeps being consistent. No matter where she starts, she doesn't fall back outside the top 15. She's a consistent top 10 car, and that's why she's 4th in points. She wants to win. She wants to return to the podium, but what a season she's had. It's got to be her best season to date in her SK Light career.
Yeah, she'll get there and has plenty of time to do that here in 2022. Speaking of best seasons in their career, in the limited late models, Rich Hammond back in victory lane for a 4th time at this season.
6 times in the last 2 years. Yep. I mean, he's been around for such a long time, but it's almost like a career renaissance for him ever since joining RRC in that 2018. I mean, he finally got the equipment, and we can see what he can do on the track. And I think he's proven himself pretty well to be a good driver because 4 wins this year in a very competitive division. We've talked about it. 8 different winners this season in the limited late models, but Hammond has 4 victories, and it's important for him because the last few weeks, Lavoie was able to chip into Hammond's point lead, but this time around, Hammond came out on top. He was pumped after the race. He's always preaching, trying to be patient, trying to take it easy in traffic, and traffic has been a bit of a struggle point for him when he starts deep in the field, but he had a better starting position. He got up there and held off Kevin Cormier, who, again, the rookie impresses with a second-place finish. That's his second runner-up. Maybe he'll be the 9th different winner this season in the limited late models.
Alexandra Fern, the defending champion, has found that consistency. A 4th-place effort last week. Is it too little, too late, though, for the defending champ?
I'll never say never, but it's not looking that great just because not many other drivers like Hammond and Lavoie have had a bad race this season. Lavoie had one tough race where he spun the last lap. Hammond really hasn't had a bad event. Now, granted, there's still 2 months of racing to go, but Alex is going to need a lot of help to be in that title picture.
And in the street stock, speaking of the title picture, it tightened up in a big way a week ago. Travis Hydar was the point leader by almost 50. That has been trimmed now to less than 20.
Well, Burt Willett takes the victory, and he came into the race 2nd in points. And Travis Hydar has the engine not even just blow up, it exploded in turn 3. I mean, it was up in flames. 2 engines in 2 weeks for Hydar. I mean, that is just really bad luck. But they'll be ready for this Friday. They know what they have in terms of performance. I mean, besides 2 DNFs, he's always finished in the top 5 this season. But going back to Burt, he said in victory lane when he climbed out of the car and dabbed in front of everybody that he was a bridesmaid no more because he came close multiple times this season, finally got to victory lane for the first time this year, 2nd time in his career in the street stocks, and that points picture tightens up, as you mentioned, because of that, because a 30-point swing from 1st to 15th, and you've been getting 20 cars every week in the street stocks. So we'll see how Hydar can recover. I'm sure he'll recover just fine, but he can't afford one more bad night if Willett keeps this up.
What was 48 points is down to 18 points between Travis Hydar and last week's winner, Burt Willett. And then there's Bobby Sturck. He had all sorts of issues last week, a week after getting his, 3rd win of the year.
Yeah, he's talking about how they need a little more consistency. It's like he wins one week, DNFs the next week, whether it's a crash or mechanical failure. In this case, 2 mechanical failures in one day. Transmission issue, doesn't make the heat. Barely makes the feature, goes out, and the drive shaft just completely falls apart on the pace lap before the start of the race. So Sturck is almost speechless in that regard and how it can just be like this because he has really come into his own the last season and a quarter. He was struggling for so long, but now 3 wins, racking up top 5s, top 10s. But now that consistency, the lack of, I should say, is the reason why he's not up there battling against Willett and Hydar for the championship. He's got the speed, but he needs to keep finishing these races.
Top 5 in points, but losing ground to the point leaders like last week's winner, Burt Willett. Those are just some of the storylines in our 5 weekly divisions here at Stafford. It's going to be a great night this Friday, headlined by the 9th annual SK5K, sponsored by NAPA Auto Parts. Expecting a great field of cars. All the action gets underway right around 6 o'clock Eastern Time. And like always, if you can't be here in person, you can tune us in on Flow Racing.